ready for a story. All right, this is the story. And I want you to play along with me. Will you play along with me? Okay, so get out your imagination, okay? So if you got your imagination out, okay, good. So now imagine that you're in your house. Maybe you are, okay? That wouldn't be too hard then, right? Imagine you're sitting in your house and you get a knock at the door. And you're like, oh, who's there? You weren't expecting anybody. And you open the door, and there's this man standing there with this beautiful suit on, and he looks all official and like, what the heck do you want? And he's like, so he says, to me, so if it was me, it'd be like, does Valerieann Giovanni live here? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's me. And he's like, oh, okay. So now imagine that the man at the door is asking you if you live there. It's like, I'm looking for this person. So put your name in there, So, he's looking for Lynette. He's looking for Robert. Looking for whoever's on here, right? Looking for you. Looking for you, Brenda. Looking for you, Regina. All of you who are on here, okay? So he's like, is she here? Is he here? And you're like, yeah, it's me. Why? And you're kind of like, I don't know, because I don't know this person, right? Well, imagine that this is what he says. So he says, well, I have this large inheritance that has been given to you by this certain person. And there's a lot involved here, but I need to find out, if you're really that person, and because there's a lot at stake here. There's a huge amount of real estate, homes, properties. There's a lot of money, and all of this you have inherited if it's really you. But first of all, before you can inherit this or get this, I have to prove that it's really you. And the way that I'm going to prove that it's you, so this is the guy talking that's in the suit, okay? So the way he's going to prove this is he has this manual that he's brought with him. And it's this manual that it has the whole blueprint of who you are. It's like your original blueprint of who you were created to be in this life. And at this particular age, he can look in there and compare it and know if you're really who you say you are. So, okay, so you're like, oh, well, yeah, So the question is, can you be convicted and guilty of being yourself so that you can get that inheritance? So, it's kind of a metaphor for life, for the truth, right? You came here to be you. That was the plan, or you wouldn't be here. I mean, you're here. You got here, okay? However it worked. We're just kind of making up a story here, okay? But imagine that, there was this overall blueprint of who you were to be. And, it's like, wow, you took on that name. You call yourself, I call myself Valerieann, okay? I was given that name, but, I took that name on because now when somebody says, who are you? I say, oh, I'm Valerieann. So whatever name you're calling yourself now, that's the name you have taken on to identify yourself, right? Well, who is Valerieann? And who are you? Are you really living you? Or if this guy at the door went through the manual, because he has manuals that are for, your friends and your family, could you be convicted and guilty of being somebody else right now? Are you guilty of being your family? Maybe you're a combination of your family. Are you guilty of being your community? What they think, feel, and believe you should be? Are you guilty of being what any, group that you belong to, what they think you should be, how you should live your life. Are you guilty of being them, of the society, the any belief system or organization that you associate yourself with? Are you guilty of being that and not yourself? Or is part of that part of who you are? You need to discover who you really are and not be, being guilty of the wrong person, because we do have an inheritance. This whole earth, I believe, has everything for us. Everything's available. There is an abundance of everything. But we have to open up to receive it, and the key to receiving it, or to unlocking the door to letting all of that in, is for us to be guilty of being who we really are. Guilty of being our true selves. Being convicted of being us, rather than being guilty of being the people around us, or people that we give more power to than we give to ourselves. So if somebody comes to the door and knocks on the door and wants to know if you're there, are you? Are you guilty enough of being you that you can receive the great inheritance that is yours on this planet?